Okay, so today we are going to talk about my favorite books that put a big focus on fantastic characters to follow. I did a video on books with the most immersive worlds. I did a video on my favorite magic systems in books. Today, we're going to talk about books that put a heavy focus on characters and do a great job at it. And because of who I am as a person, we're going to kick it off with The Lies of Locke and Jacques. So this series is about a band of thieves and ne'er-do-wells who were essentially raised to swindle and lie and steal. And they make a great crew with strong friendships, hilarious dynamics. The humor in these books is beautiful. And the main two that we follow are the best friendship I've ever read. Locke and Jacques are my people. I named my cat after Locke. The level of loyalty between them, the level of I love you so much, I will do anything for you between these best friends is just, it's something that I think so few authors are able to execute on this level. I would do anything for them because I love them so much and I want them to stay together forever. These characters feel like real people to me. They have a lot of layers to them. Most of them are bad layers. They're definitely not good guys that we're following. They feel so real, and every action they make, every choice, every conversation, every ridiculous situation that they get into is just perfect. The plot to these books, in my opinion, is definitely secondary. I think that each of the three books that are published currently are all three really fun books, but realistically, it's the characters that's the greatest strength of these books. It's the characters that keep me reading every single time. I know that there's criticisms that by the third book, Scott Lynch's plots were starting to get stale, and I do agree with that, but I also think that his setup for the end of book 3 gives us a whole lot of potential for book 4, so I still trust him wholly, but I think that this is a series that whether you like plot or characters more, this book will provide for you. However, if you're a character reader, you're gonna win. Next book on my list of books that focus just perfectly on characters and execute it so well is gonna be the First Law trilogy. So I just posted a video about these books, like right before this one, so I'll link it up there if you want my spoiler-free thoughts trying to convince you to read this trilogy. In short, these are some of the best written characters I've ever read. Once again, we're not following the good guys, but on a much bigger level. But every decision that they make, every situation that gets thrust on them and how they react to it, it always, even though I never agree with their choices, it always feels so real. Again, like I'm talking to real people here. Also, I didn't mention this in the other video, but the humor in these books is also so good. But definitely check out that other video before you dive into this because it's also really, really dark. Lies of Locke and Jacques, we're following the bad guys, but in a more lighthearted way, even though Scott Lynch doesn't back down on some of his scenes. Joanne Abercrombie really doesn't back down. Shifting focus a little bit, now we're moving out of fantasy and we're talking about classic contemporary goodness. Next on my list is Little Women. So Little Women, I haven't finished the series yet, but I'm actually going to soon. I have a plan to be reading through all 4 books. Little Women is the most charming story. I guess there was a movie just released. I still haven't seen it. I promise I will. So I guess everybody knows the general plot of this. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know, book, movie, what's better. Maybe I'll do a video on it after I reread book 1 and continue on with the series. But this is probably one of the most charming stories I've ever read. It's just wholesome. It's just sweet. Even if you're not a big classics reader and you don't tend to appreciate classics as much, I think that Little Women is one that you really could. The family dynamic between them, between these sisters, between this family as a whole is just, it's what everybody wants, their loyalty and their depth of love. And each of the sisters are so uniquely themselves and going through their own situations, their own goals and ideals, and I just love it so much. If you loved the movie, read the book. If you hated the movie, read the book. I promise I'll watch the movie soon. Next book on my list is an author, and that's Frederick Bachman. I didn't know if I should recommend Beartown or And Every Morning, so I'm gonna recommend both, I guess. They'll both be linked in the description, which, by the way, I always forget to mention affiliate links in the description of all my videos. Beartown takes place in a hockey town, and it happens at a time where hockey is kind of ruling the town, but then one of the hockey players rapes another character. And it's the town's reaction. Some of the characters react extremely well, and some of the characters react terribly. And it's a lot of different perspectives, and we get a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different situations revolving this one act. And Every Morning is about a man who is slowly losing himself within himself due to dementia. And it's his perspective, as well as his son's perspective, as well as his grandson's perspective, and everybody just kind of experiencing this happening. And his books are heavy, but Bachman has a way of writing where he can take the simplest concept, the simplest idea, and word it in a way that hits harder than anything else and that makes you see it different. I felt like my family was understood in this one, and I just felt like there was just so much gold in this one. But all of his books are very character focused. All of his books have such deep and complex characters, and I recommend them all. You should read them, even though I haven't read them all yet. The Outsiders is another classic, and this one, I don't even think you could argue that it has a plot. This story, when I was reading it, I kept waiting. I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. This is the point of the story. Okay, this is the point. Okay, this is the point of the... No, the characters were the point. You have interesting social dynamics being explored in this book, and you have family and friendships that are as strong as family, and just some of the most flawed yet unbelievably lovable characters that I've read. It's a book that you shouldn't go in with very many expectations, especially not in regards to direction or plot, but by the end you get there and you think, oh, that's the point, even though it's not clear until you get there. You may already know a lot about this because, again, classic, those are hard to keep away from spoilers for, but I was able to, and I experienced the story brand new to me, so that's all I'll say, just in case you're in a similar awesome situation. And I'm gonna end this in a place that's close to my heart, as if all of these others weren't, in a nostalgic place, one of my childhood favorite books, and that's Just Ella. This is a take on the Cinderella story, but it starts after the ball, after she's been taken away from her abusive household, and now she's engaged to the prince, she's training to become a princess, and realizes the prince kinda sucks, and I regret my decisions, and I won out. This is a book that I don't even know how many times I've read it because it was my favorite book as a kid, as a middle schooler, and I read it over and over and over again, and then I've read it almost every single year as an adult as well because I love it so much. I do wish it was longer. It's very short, and the ending, I wanted more, but I think it's just one of the sweetest, most wholesome, most beautiful stories, and our main character is so strong and such a fantastic person to follow. I loved it, and if you're in the mood for a cute, young, adorable, sweet, amazing book, this is it. And the characters in it, the main character, the side characters, I won't say too much about it. The characters are people that you easily root for and love and want to see have all the good things in the world, and they fight so hard for those good things, and I love it so much. So here's my list of books that are strong in their character work, books that you are going to fall in love with and root for the characters. This is a list of books that I highly, highly, highly recommend. Be sure to chat with me more about these books and other recommendations in this category down in the comments. I post videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.